Hello everyone, welcome to Focused Fields. In this video, let's understand Government of India Act 1858, why it was framed and what changes had been made. Government of India Act 1858, the previous act was made in the year 1853. It is Charter Act. Now we know what does Charter and why it was made. The first Charter Act was made in the year 1793. After 20 years, in the year 1813, another Charter Act was made. After 20 years, in the year 1833, another Charter Act was made. And after 1833, it was in 1853, last Charter Act that was legislated. And this Government of India Act was in 1858. Why and what happened in 5 years? Let's understand why Government of India Act has to be legislated. First question, what happened in these 5 years? It was not the timeline of this 5 years from the time 1773 till the year 1858. They were making oppressive policies. Now what does this oppressive policies means? The policies which were being drafted during this period, they were oppressive in nature, where Indian subjects were not happy with those laws. Until 1858, it was East India Company that was ruling India, and Crown is extending the license to them every 20 years from Charter Act of 1793. Whatever the policies that were made during this period, it was by East Indian Company directly. Why they have made these oppressive policies? We all know, for the only reason to generate revenue by exploitation. That is the main idea behind these oppressive policies. There is a revolt with name Revolt of 1857. Let's understand what is this revolt and why it was called as Revolt of 1857. From the time East India Company took the administrative measures, we discussed they were making oppressive policies. If they were making oppressive policies, will Indians be liking it? No. We'll also see what are the few examples of these oppressive policies very soon. The anger among the Indian subjects has grown like an volcano from the year 1773 till the year 1857. What led this anger burst out in the year 1857? It was Enfield rifle. This rifle was introduced by East India Company in the year 1857. You might be thinking, what is this rifle and why it led to oust the Indian people's anger? We'll understand that too. When this Enfield rifle was introduced, the cartridge has to be loaded into the rifle. It was believed that there were many speculations that was said the cartridge has been covered with a paper above. This paper was greased with cow and pig fat. The speculations passed very promptly among the soldiers within India. The soldiers within India are Hindus and Muslims. Hindus sees cow as a sacred animal and Muslims think pig as a untidy animal. For these reasons, the soldiers are not ready to use this rifle. That is the immediate reason why revolt of 1857 took place. And we also discussed their anger had grown slowly from the year 1773. Let's see some of the policies which were introduced by East India Company during this period. The first one is doctrine of lapse. This doctrine was introduced by Lord Dalhousie. Now, why it is called as oppressive policy? First thing, if there is a king with the name A in his kingdom, this king A is not having any natural sons and he adopts a son. In that scenario, according to doctrine of lapse, this adopted son is not allowed to rule the kingdom after the death of his father. That's the first thing. And he is not allowed to take the riches which his father during his tenure had earned. That is doctrine of lapse. Now, why this doctrine of lapse was introduced? Major reason, to acquire India into the hands of British. That is one oppressive policy. That is something regarding political. Now let's see some economic policies which are oppressive in nature. Major reason in economic policies is heavy taxation. What is heavy taxation? For a piece of land which were owned by Indians, in this piece of land, at the time of harvesting, owners has to pay some tax to Britishers. This tax is not in minimal rates, it is at higher rates. If the production and productivity both are high, they can afford these taxes. But during the time of droughts, famines, even in those situations, this company demanded for payment of these taxes. Now, if there is no production and no productivity, how can farmers pay these taxes? At that point of time, when the taxes were not paid, what East India Company did? They had taken the ownership of the land on the name of East Indian Company. Now, will farmers be liking it? No. The anger among the farmers even increased. In the previous policy of doctrine of lapse, will native kings will be liking this? No, right? So for this reason, to state a clear example, for this reason, Rani Jhansi Lakshmi Bai lost her kingdom. And not only Jhansi Lakshmi Bai, it is the kingdom of Awadh that went into British hands for this reason of doctrine of lapse. These are the two best examples that clearly explains how oppressive the doctrine of lapse is. And the second reason is heavy taxation, as we discussed. Their anger had been increasing over the years. Will people of India be liking all these things? No, they are not liking it. They had taken Jamindar rights earlier, where Jamindars used to collect the taxes from the farmers and they used to keep some proportion of the revenue that had been collected. Jamindars were removed as a intermediaries. Jamindars also facing the problem of dissatisfaction there. All these people were combined into one and their anger was ousted in revolt of 1857. These are the some examples of revolt of 1857. We'll clearly see what are the political, economic and social reasons when we are dealing with the subject of modern history. Let's understand the key features of this act. First thing, it made Viceroy as the highest British official in India. Before 1858, you need to comment who is the highest British officer that was present in India. It made Viceroy as the highest British official in India. The first Viceroy is Lord Canning. And second feature, it ended the double government, that is Court of Directors and Board of Control. To test your understanding, pause the video, go to the comment box and answer during which act. I am giving you a clue. This was made by the youngest British Prime Minister. To continue with, this Act of 1858 had ended Court of Directors and Board of Control. Now, Court of Directors for commercial functions, Board of Control for political functions, right? They ended both of them. These are working for East India Company. Remember, they are not working for Britain government directly, they are working for East India Company. Meaning, in previous Act of 1853, we discussed this is the last Charter Act. Meaning, now at any point of time, East India Company can be ruled out from the power, that is governing India. And next aspect, it created a new office called as Secretary of State in the Britain Parliament, who is having absolute authority among the things that is happening in India, whatever the decisions or whatever the policies that are being taken now after 1858 Act. Who is having authority over these things? It is Secretary of State, again who is sitting in Britain Parliament. And this Secretary of State who is sitting at Britain Parliament need the ground reality. Now, who is going to provide him the ground reality? It is the 15-member council who is going to provide him the ground reality of India to frame policies and regulation. And this 15-member council is an advisory council, meaning they can just advise on the things, advise on the ground realities. They can say the health of Indians is getting deteriorated. You need to take certain actions regarding the aspects of health. Let's say if these 15 members recommend this thing, it is in the pursuit of Secretary of State office whether to implement the policies that take care of health of Indians or not. And the council is having a chairman, it is Secretary of State for India. Next important aspect, it constituted Secretary of State in Council as a body corporate capable of being sued in India and in England. Now you need to understand this very clearly. From the time 1773 till the time 1858, who is ruling India? It's East India Company, right? When East India Company took any policies that angered Indian subjects, East India Company had implemented a policy when they were ruling saying, from now, whoever was walking on roads, they need to pay certain amount of taxes. The rich walks on road, the poor walks on road. The rich can afford and they can pay taxes. The poor cannot afford to pay the taxes. Poor section of society, what they'll be doing? They'll be going to court and they'll be filing a complaint, meaning they are going to sue East India Company. This had happened till 1858. There is an age-old policy in Britain Parliament which says the Queen will not be making any mistake. What it clearly says? It says you can't sue Queen because they are not going to make any mistake. Seeing all these oppressive policies and all the tortured rule, all the way from 1773 till the time 1858, will Indians be trusting all these things if Britishers say that Queen is not going to make any mistakes, that Crown or Secretary of State who we have placed at highest authority, he is not going to make any mistakes? No, the Indians will not be listening to all of them, and there is a possibility that another revolt is going to take place if they claim the Queen is not going to make mistakes. To make Indians cool, Britain Parliament did, hey Indians, be cool now. You don't need to worry about this thing. We are going to make Secretary of State office as a company now. How East India Company used to be, the same way Secretary of State is a company where you can sue them. There was any promise which was made, and if that promise was not fulfilled, you can sue them how you did to East India Company. That is all about the last lines, which says it is a corporate capable of being sued in India, not only in India but also in England. This is all about Government of India Act 1858. Thank you.